Folks, we begin today, chapter 31. Chapter 31, actually starting tomorrow, will come full circle. Chapter 31, and one word is simcha, joy. We're speaking about real heavy ownership to such a degree that you can see every other person is greater than you. Havishval bifnei kol adam. You should be lower in spirit, or lower, look at yourself lower than any other individual, even those who are removed from their divine service compared to the Beinani, who is fully engaged in divine service. Yet, does the Beinani battle as much in what they need to accomplish in doing good versus the person who is very removed and has a passion burning inside of them for their, based on their animal soul, that they have to overcome? Huge challenge to overcome, and to just eke out something minimal in staying away from evil and doing good. So it's all about how comparable is the effort that was put in, is how the Beinani would look at themselves in order to, and the point of this, it was an exercise actually, to take away the dullness of the heart. Sometimes the heart can be like a stone, even though you're completely Beinani, mastery over thought, speech, and action. It doesn't mean that there's a fire in them of their godly soul. So they want to overcome it. So they use this method on how to crush the negativity from within. So Alter Rebbe says that this can lead to a downer in a person. If you think about this and meditate upon this, it can bring you down. The Alter Rebbe says not to worry, because if it's coming from the right place, it's going to lead you to the right direction. And he's going to explain that. The truth is, this downer is from klipas noiga. Klipas noiga is a shell, but it's translucent, meaning that there's a mixture of good and evil in there. And this is the good part of the klipa. In other words, the good part is that you're owning your stuff to such a degree that you're able to crush the negative part within your animal soul and body. The negativity is its agenda, not the physical reality of a person. No, not at all. That's holy. But the agenda we're talking about, the drive of the animal soul and the body, that's negative. That needs to be brought down, as we've explained at great length in the last several classes. That effort is coming from klipas noiga. Not the effort, the fact that there's a moment of bringing you down. Yeah. Why? Because you're dealing with your failings, with your shortcomings. That is coming from the good part in klipas noiga. However, it's not holiness, because holiness, the Alter Rebbe writes, is strength and gladness are only in a place of God. So there has to be joy. That's holy. Gladness of heart. That is holy. So he explains. Let me explain the concept over here. Of course, we're not talking about a real depression. We're not talking about a real someone who's someone who isn't dealing with their issues in an appropriate way. The appropriate way is like this. When you feel your shortcomings, your failings, the first reaction is a downer. Oy. It's, you feel the sense of your failings. That downer is from klipas noiga, is the good in that klipa. Because there's a sense of responsibility. There's a sense of ownership. But that's not sufficient. From there, it needs to quickly be moved, not to the downer, but the Alter Rebbe explains, something called in Hebrew merirus, coming from the mar, bitterness. Now this is very important. Bitterness here is not directed towards any person, not to God, not to another person, but to one's situation. Bitterness is not a downer. A downer is lack of life. Bitterness is abundant life. Abundant life. What does bitterness do when you feel your shortcomings and now you are down for a moment because you feel the ownership of it? Bitterness is a capability of stopping and changing direction. When you feel bitter, how could I have done that? My situation, I've got to change and become what I really need to become. That's a sense of bitterness that will change the direction of the individual, and they'll be able to, and the Alter Rebbe says that this is not from Klippa, this is actually from holiness. Because that is, in that moment, in that ownership of the failings, a redirection in that failing. And as the Alter Rebbe says, in holiness, you have the right side and you have the left side. You have chesed and you have gvura. Chesed is kindness, which means the joy that you have, which we're going to speak about that in tomorrow's class. But then there's a left. Left is judgment. Left is gvura, strength. Strength meaning strength of holding back, of refraining, and the bitterness that comes in that you feel the bitterness of what you are, what you've done, and that it gives you the change of direction. That is holiness. The Alter Rebbe explains that in order to, you might say that to make change, well, why do you have to bring the negativity upon yourself? Just, do good. So doing good is not dealing with the negativity. And to really change negativity, the Alter Rebbe explains, you have to fight fire with fire, negative with the negative. As the negativity of the individual, you have to bear upon it the root source of negativity, which the root source of negativity is gvura, which is holiness. Holy power of gvura. When you bear the source upon it, on that level, it's not negative. It's holy. And an outgrowth of that, or a consequence of that, is that you can sweeten any negativity that there might be in the root source above. That there might be some kind of negativity, and here you're able to sweeten the severities as a result. That will be the sort of the consequence. If there's a stern judgment, it becomes sweetened because you're arousing the holy attribute of severity above to temper the sweetness as a result. So again, there's a very important point over here. In other words, to affect a change in something in us that is not healthy, not positive, it's not enough just to focus on doing good. And that's what the world today will tell us. Just do good and forget it. But this is a level already. You have to be, as we've learned previously. You have to engage and be living the 30 chapters before this, so you can get to chapter 31. To bear the source of the root of the negativity, the way it comes from above, so means the bitterness that you sense in you that changes, that affects, or that elicits the holy attribute of severity above, and transforms negativity into sweetness, and then and that's truly owning your stuff. You're really owning it. And by owning it, then what can happen, as we'll explain in tomorrow's class, is that you can now leave all of that and now go to the desired place to be, and that is joy. And as we will learn what kind of joy this is, an enhanced and greater joy that will come out of owning your stuff in this manner. So let's make sure we have a clarity over here. We all have shortcomings and failings. So when we are a bit down because of it, use that opportunity, not when you're doing a mitzvah, but because when you're doing a mitzvah, you can only have gladness of heart. You're learning right now, you shouldn't be down on yourself. Not allowed to push that away. When you are not doing a mitzvah and you're on a little down, so then you could use that opportunity to take from the down. That down means that you feel the not guilt, but you feel the weight of the ownership of your failings. And that weight initially brings you down. But you can't stay there. That's momentarily, or not too long at least. That needs to be transferred, because that is klipa. Klipas noiga, there's a good thing there, because you're owning your failings, your spiritual failings. You're owning it, but from there it needs to come to a place of holiness. And what's that? Bitterness. Because bitterness that I feel about my failings will be the opportunity to rectify my failings. If I'm not bitter about my failings, then I'm not going to change anything. Like, not so bad. I feel bad. I feel guilt. Guilt, we're not talking about. Guilt is not Chassidus. It's not Tanya. You can't live with guilt. Talking about transforming something in you. So when you have that bitterness, then that's the vehicle for change. Because bitterness is full of life. Oh, how could I have done that? That is terrible. That's life. Sadness is weighing you down. It's a lack of life. It needs to transform into the bitterness that is full of life. That full of life is going to now make a change in you. It will elicit from on high the gvura, the strength from above that will sweeten the severities as a result. And then what will come as a result of that, I've dealt with things, I can get rid of that negativity, or that downer, and now I can go to where I need to be because I've dealt with it. And where do I need to be? Joy. Double joy, as we're going to learn tomorrow. That's it for today, though. Powerful. Any questions, any comments? Paulo, Shavua Tov. Julie from Florida, thank you for joining. Corla from North Carolina, I hope I pronounced that right. Can you mystically teach something to accept into their, I don't know. Sorry, Sarah, I don't know what you mean by that exactly. And guess you could teach anything. Sorry, I'm not clear. Ellie from Austria. Andrea. Ivan from Portuguese. From Uzbekistan. Thank you for joining. Michael from Toronto. Good to see you're with us. Key. John from North Carolina. Jane Gutavoch from Illinois. Andrew from New Jersey. Eli Shavuatov. Maxwell. Golda from the U.S. Rebecca. Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, that's an important, powerful idea. Cindy Bocato from Florida. Thank you, Maria Lozata. Claudia from Brazil. Serach. Okay. So basically, taking responsibility of your actions and your outcome will make you able to transform them into something holy, a bad situation. First of all, it's not just your actions, it's your speech and your thoughts too, and primarily thoughts in the Beinoni, or actually only thoughts in the Beinoni, really. Yes, so taking responsibility, the Alter Rebbe is explaining the process and how it works. First is the being down, right? The weight of the challenge of the spiritual failing, or the character failing, shall we say, or whatever failing it is, right? Failing here is not something that you can't control. The only thing we can control is ourselves, so it's about us. And in that failing, that then it transforms into change. And change will not be coming when you feel down about it. There's no change there. Feeling guilty is a downer also. No change. It might be in the moment just to not feel bad about yourself, because no one wants to feel bad. No one wants to feel down. But that won't help. What helps is that it converts into, as we explained, bitterness, not towards anybody else. And only bitterness here means bitterness because of my failing, and now that bitterness allows me to change that thing that needs to be changed in me. Thank you. Bagpipe. Dandelion. Says if this is very practical in day-to-day living. Yes. Adriana, thank you. All right, folks. Purim is coming. We need to prepare for Purim. We need to do all the mitzvahs, of course, on Purim, but beforehand, make sure that you give charity for those so we can celebrate, if you have a community, those who might not be able to celebrate properly. And we'll talk more about Purim, perhaps during the week. All right, folks, just a reminder that you can get this in a 1-minute synopsis on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Tanya Rabbi. Please follow me there and spread the word here on Instagram, on Facebook, as sharing is caring. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Have a wonderful day, a Shavua Tov, a good Tvach, a wonderful, good week.